I'm losing my husband and don't think I can do anything about it.
Oh no.
I'm 39 female. My husband is 39 male. We've been married for 13 years. After struggling with infertility for a few years, we realized early in our marriage we would not be able to have kids of our own. It was a tough realization, but we both decided to dedicate ourselves to our jobs and spoil the nieces and nephews and young cousins we have. A few months ago, a young woman, Kaylee, 26 female, moved into the house next door to us. She has 2 twin sons and is recently widowed. She's lovely and completely overwhelmed. She has no family in the area, so my husband and I, of course, offered to help her with anything she needed. She'll come to us for help with little things. She'll ask my husband to fix something or ask for an ingredient for a meal along those lines. You have sugar?
Yeah.
I didn't know if people still did that.
Yeah.
My husband is always respectful and I don't think he would ever cheat, but I see how he reacts when Kaylee calls or rings the bell. His eyes light up. He gets excited. He loves her twin boys. They play and roughhouse with him all the time. Our driveway runs along the side of her yard. When he used to come home from work and they would be outside, he'd take a few minutes to play with them before he came in. So now they're out there every afternoon waiting for him.
Oh no.
My husband has admitted seeing them run up to him after work brightens up his whole day. I know my husband would never cheat or betray me, but I see him losing himself in this fantasy of what if this was my family? What if these were my kids? I know he wouldn't cheat, but I have this fear he's going to realize what we have isn't enough and he's going to leave me for the ready-made family next door. I don't want to discuss these concerns with him and sound accusatory, but yesterday I saw him and Kaylee talking outside and I wanted to cry. They looked like a happy family. They were on her deck talking and laughing. He was holding one twin boy while the other was climbing on her. I feel like I'm losing my husband and there's nothing I can do to stop it. I don't know what to do.
This is a recipe for disaster. Oh, this is horrendous. Step 1, you do have to talk to him.
Yes.
I don't think you can keep hiding your feelings, especially if boundaries need to be set. I definitely don't think you're losing your husband unless you don't put in the effort to have these conversations and really put in the work on the relationship and say, honey, this is making me uncomfortable. I know I love you and I trust you and I know you wouldn't cheat, but I'm feeling like I'm being replaced. I'm watching this life around me kind of form and it's just not making me feel good. You don't want to sound accusatory or insecure. We've all been there in situations with a partner where it's you know the worst and you don't want to assume the worst is even possible, but sometimes it just helps to get it out there and say it.
Especially with the narrative that's building up inside.
Oh my God.
In your mind and just that can take over you. Aside from this, you can think your partner's cheating and then you'll start to look for reasons to make your insecurity get stronger. And then at the end of the day, you can find out no, they haven't been doing a single thing, but I've built up this whole narrative and getting myself wound up to where I'm yep. And you almost start to believe it.
Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend that he can't have girlfriends? I'm 22 and my boyfriend's 27. He's a finance bro. He comes from a rich, white, privileged family and always gets exactly what he wants, which included me. Grew up in a low-income household and my parents are immigrants. Family and I are really tight. Him and his family, on the other end, they barely speak to each other. Met at a party and he asked me out and I said yes. Before that, I had never hung out with anybody who had money, so him taking me out to dinners, his family's yacht, and on trips was an entirely different world for me. I quickly realized that it was always going to be his way. We always go eat where he wants to. We always hang out with whoever he wants to hang out with. Don't get me wrong, he is considerate and sweet and loving. We threw a party for his best friend's birthday on his yacht, and an old friend of his showed up to the party. This girl was just like him, rich, white, and got everything she wanted. But her and I actually did make friends that day. But then she started wanting to hang out with my boyfriend by themselves. He told me he was going to have breakfast with her and I asked him why he wouldn't take me. That's when he said that they just wanted to catch up. I told him it made me uncomfortable, but he went to breakfast anyway. He said we should have friends of the opposite sex. Should I break up with him?
Am I the asshole for canceling my girlfriend's tattoo appointment? My girlfriend has OCD and one symptom she experiences is her doing everything in 5 seconds. For context, her mother passed away in March of 2018. Well, in January, she brought up getting a tattoo for the 5th anniversary of her mother's death. I suggested she talk to her therapist about it, and after doing so, her therapist said it wasn't a good idea. She believed that the drive behind her wanting to get the tattoo was her OCD rather than actually wanting it. However, my girlfriend still went ahead and booked the appointment. After talking with a couple of friends, they agreed it wasn't a good idea to make such a permanent decision. Am I the asshole for canceling my girlfriend's tattoo appointment? If she had somewhat recovered from her OCD, I wouldn't be so hesitant, but she hasn't made any progress. I emailed the tattooist and canceled her appointment. I told her an hour before the appointment and she had booked the last slot for the day. So she was unable to get it done and I knew she was going to be upset, but I didn't realize how upset she was going to be. It's been a couple weeks and it's crazy how she reacted, but I'm more than certain that she will be happy in the future. It's clear that it was OCD influenced as it has flared up a bit because of it, and she's aware of that too. And she said not being able to get it on that anniversary makes her physically sick.
I left my boyfriend after he tried to propose. I, female 20, and my boyfriend, male 27, have been together for about a year and 3 months. From the beginning, he has always talked about marriage and kids. I want kids and that stuff too, but definitely later in life. We would often be lying in bed and he would just say, I can't wait to do this when we're married. Personally, I don't really get it. Like, what's going to change from now when we're dating to when we're married? Our relationship will still be the same one we started with. He often would just ask me casually to marry him, and I would always just answer something along the lines of, someday. He's asked me about every month for about a year, and I always answer the same. I'm very busy and I travel for an intern job for work, so I don't really see myself settling down within the next few years. For those of you thinking that I'm leading him on, I am very open with these plans. I told him that I don't even want to get engaged until I'm at least 25 and want kids late 20s to early 30s. That's just a personal boundary and preference. Whenever I would answer seriously, he would always shut down, get quiet, and look upset. If you're wondering about our age gap, I know. We met at a work party when I was 18. We're in the same field and have the same close group of friends. He never gave me creepy or ill intentions, and the only issue we seem to have is marriage and kids. The last time he casually asked, we were on the beach about a month ago, and once again I just said, I'm not ready right now. Fast forward to 2 days ago, he proposed to me for real. He took me to the mountain with a waterfall and actually got down on one knee with a ring. I didn't even look at the ring before I said no. It was like a reflex. I started walking away and crying out of shock. I knew this was the end for us. I couldn't see myself getting back together with someone who just doesn't listen to me. He started crying and begging, blah blah blah. I told him that I needed time. I flew home to my family and told him what happened. Turns out he told my family and they said that he shouldn't do it. He ignored them, never told them he was going through with it, and didn't bother to invite them to the party that he had planned after. Later found out his whole family was there. Honestly, feel great. I texted him that we're done and that the line was crossed. Unfortunately, I have to see him at work, but I don't even feel an ounce of sadness. More like relief, and I'm not totally sure why. But I'm just wondering, did I do the right thing by saying no? I, 16 male, was born to my mom when she was 15, and I've never known my real dad. My mom didn't drop out of school or anything, and the year after I was born, she started dating Jack, and when they went to university, I obviously got left behind with my grandparents. Mom and Jack got good degrees, got married, and moved to a city by Vancouver. My mom's always been in my life. She would still come home every weekend just to cuddle me, and she would always give me these nicknames, but calling me her special guy would be her favorite one. She'd always bring me back presents and gifts and spend the whole time playing with me. She's the one who paid for my tutoring and after school stuff and would try and make it to games and stuff like that. Jack wouldn't always come with her, but it was always fun when he would. He's taken me fishing with him a lot of times, and we even went camping for 2 weeks together once, but never again because I hate camping. However, when I was 10, my mom and Jack had a daughter and then another girl 3 years ago. I don't really know them, especially because my mom stopped coming over as much after they were born. We don't cuddle anymore. We did that on my birthday, but that's it. No more cute nicknames for me except special guy. It's like they all got transferred to her daughters. No more gifts, and the worst part is she doesn't come to my games anymore. It was okay with me before because they still had a spare room in their house and I could go there when it's time for university. Yesterday, my mom FaceTimed me and she had a big announcement that she was going to have another baby and it was a boy, and now she'd have 2 special guys. I guess she saw how sour my face was because she asked what's wrong, and I don't know, I just admitted how jealous I was that her daughters got so much more and now her son was going to get her and there wouldn't even be space for me when I had to go to university. And I guess what I said affected her because she started crying and wouldn't stop and I had to hang up. My grandparents are mad that I made her upset and think that I don't value them now or something. Jack phoned me and he's mad because my mom thinks it's a mistake now to have another kid, and also mad at me because he was like, why would I ever think that they wouldn't have room for me? I feel like I really messed up by telling her that, and now here I am at school and I can't stop thinking about it.
Story time about how somebody stole my $12,000 dog at a house party. So a little background information, I was 17 and a junior in high school, and I decided to throw a party at my house before winter break. So usually whenever I threw parties, I would always have everybody in the basement because I had a pretty big basement. There was a sliding glass door to the outside, so nobody had to go upstairs to get in or get out. And I would always lock the door to the upstairs just in case anybody decided to wander up the stairs. And because I didn't think anybody would get in upstairs, I let my dogs run around the house. So everybody who I invited showed up, and I guess that my address got leaked because a bunch of random people started showing up at my house. And it's not like I didn't have neighbors. No, I lived in a very tight cul-de-sac. So people were parking in front of my neighbors' driveways, in my neighbors' driveways. So I called my parents, and eventually I had to have my neighbors call the cops on my house party. My own party. Like for part 2.
Am I the asshole for lying that my dad was having an affair to prove that my stepmom reads my diary? My 16 female stepmom, 40 female Ariel is very immature and honestly acts like a 9-year-old. She's the type who makes fun of someone for wearing glasses or having a hearing aid. And to top it off, she also says bigoted things. Well, I found out that she's been reading my diary because she said that I wrote rude things about her cousin Loretta and tried to punish me over it. My dad just told me to respect adults and said nothing about reading my diary. I've also moved it multiple times, but she keeps finding it and reading it. And I know she's doing it because she says things she'd only know if she was actively reading my diary.